What is up, you freaky folks? My name is Nick, and welcome to my channel, where I cover all things horror, thriller, mystery, all the genre stuff. Whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about, and every month I take a look at all of the top streaming services to find lists of recommendations for you guys. And I'm sure you're all well aware that Wonder Woman 1984 is headed to HBO Max on Christmas Day here in the United States. So if you're looking at the service and you're trying to determine whether or not you actually want to spend your money on signing up for it, well, I have a good 10 plus reasons that you are gonna want to sign up for HBO Max this December and check out all the good stuff. Honestly, I shouldn't even have to convince you. Just look at their library. It's incredible. So if you aren't already subscribed, make sure you do so. That way you stay up to date with what to watch and where to watch it. Number 10 is The Butterfly Effect. This 2000s sci-fi drama is about a boy who experiences blackouts throughout eventful times in his life. As an adult, he finds that he can travel back in time by reading his journal and relives the time he lost. He goes back over and over, trying to improve his life as well as the lives of those around him, only to find new challenges facing him every time. This movie should come with all of the trigger warnings. It deals with sexual assault, child abuse, animal harm, probably everything in between. But the reason that I recommend it is that I think it handles all of its touchy subjects very well. And I find it funny now looking back on it that this was a movie my teen friends and I would just throw on back in the day. Adult supervision, who needs it? There is a lot going on in The Butterfly Effect, but I think it is a very special little hidden gem that you should check out if it sounds like it's for you.
But what if you could go back in time?
You are completely relaxed. Think of it like a movie. You can pause, rewind, or slow down.
Could you save the one person that mattered the most?
Number 9 is Underwater. This sci-fi action thriller is about the crew of a drilling company located at the bottom of the ocean who experience an underwater earthquake. As they try to escape and survive, they realize there are greater threats lurking in the dark water. This might feel like a basic Alien ripoff, but set in the ocean. Sure, we've seen it before, but it's a pretty fun ride in my opinion, and features a badass performance from Kristen Stewart. So if you missed it when it played in theaters at the beginning of the year, check it out while it's on HBO Max.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad's my rig?
10.
Number 8 is Shazam. This superhero action comedy based on the DC Comics finds an orphan boy given the power to turn into Shazam. Simply by saying his name, our protagonist turns into a beefy adult with all kinds of superpowers. Maybe you're not into the superhero movies that have taken over the cinema over the last 10 years, but this one is different to me. Even though it feels like the most Marvel DC movie they have made yet, it's also a Christmas movie. So if you're looking for some feel-good fun this holiday season, check out Shazam.
Your phone's charged. Your phone's charged.
Number 7 is The Devil's Advocate. This dramatic thriller stars Keanu Reeves as a talented lawyer who is recruited to a high-powered firm in New York City. As he begins the next stage of his career, strange happenings lead him to believe he is working for the devil himself. This 90s flick is quite long and slow-paced, but I think it is so worth it. It doesn't really get exciting or flashy, but ultimately it's the story of someone making a deal with the devil, so to speak. Now, as a message as a movie, I think it does it just right, and it features excellent performances from Al Pacino and Charlize Theron.
It's my time now.
The Devil's Advocate.
Number 6 is Cold Mountain. This historical drama is about the end of the Civil War as a wounded soldier travels back home to North Carolina. Simultaneously, his wife tries to make ends meet at their home at Cold Mountain with the help of a fellow scrappy woman. This movie has Oscar bait written all over it, and for that reason, I avoided it for quite some time. But I'm glad that I gave in, because it is a truly beautifully made movie fleshed out with incredible performances, so it's truly worthy of that hype. Civil War movies are not my go-to, but this is the exception to the rule. And I mean, come on, we're in Oscar bait season. I'm in the mood for this shit.
From Academy Award-winning writer-director Anthony Minghella comes the motion picture from the acclaimed best-selling novel.
He's always in my mind.
Number 5 is Uncle Buck. This feel-good family comedy from John Hughes is about a slob of an uncle, played by John Candy, who is called in to babysit his nieces and nephew when a family emergency occurs. Being the last person that should be a parent, silly hijinks ensue as Uncle Buck tries to teach his family a lesson or two. For you youngsters, John Hughes made the best of the feel-good flicks from the 80s into the 90s, and I know this is gonna feel very outdated to a lot of you, but I rewatched it sometime within the last year, I don't know, but I think it holds up as a really fun and entertaining family film.
Where do you live?
City.
You have a house?
Apartment.
Own or rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Number 4 is Final Destination. This early 2000s horror favorite is about a group of high school students on their way to France for a field trip. Before takeoff, one student has a vision of the plane exploding and hops off early, pulling a handful of others off with him. When the plane does in fact blow up, everyone is devastated, but death has a plan for these characters, and it comes for them in unexpected ways. You know the drill in these movies, the entire world is out to get you. It's basically Anxiety, the movie. The entire franchise is available right now on HBO Max, which I think is awesome. You can choose your favorite, but I think the original is definitely the best, although I will say the third one is my favorite sequel. Let me know what your favorite Final Destination movie is in the comments.
In death, there are no accidents. No coincidences. And no escapes.
Number 3 is Batman Returns, another superhero DC movie, this time from Tim Burton. Michael Keaton returns as Batman in this sequel that sees the rise of the villainous Penguin alongside Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, in one of my favorite film performances. Unpopular opinion here, folks, Batman is not my favorite superhero. Is he even super? It doesn't matter, but I loved the animated series as a kid. However, I felt like the movies didn't exactly capture that same magic, except for the Tim Burton movies. They kind of freaked me out when I was a kid, but now I love them. And I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. She is my everything. Oh, and it's a Christmas movie. What better time to give this a rewatch?
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. Yeah.
Number 2 is Misery. This horror classic, based on a novel by Stephen King, stars James Caan as a writer who gets into a car accident on a Colorado highway. He's rescued by a nurse who helps him recover in her remote home, and she just so happens to be his #1 fan. Soon it becomes clear she has no intention of letting him leave. Kathy Bates gives an Oscar-winning performance as one of my favorite villains of all time in this one. I know I don't have to tell you how great Misery is, we all know, but I think this is a perfect horror film, and every time I watch it, I have a greater appreciation for it. I think Rob Reiner did an excellent job with this movie, just the way that it is shot and structured and edited and acted. It is all top notch. It's one of the best winter horror movies that I could recommend, so don't miss it.
You don't think he's dead, do you?
And don't even think about anybody coming for you, because I never called them. Nobody knows you're here. And you better hope nothing happens to me. Because if I die, you die.
Number 1 is Die Hard. This action classic stars Bruce Willis as John McClane, a New York City police officer visiting his estranged wife in Los Angeles on Christmas Eve. When international terrorists attack the wife's company, McClane must step in to save the day. Of course, this movie is beloved. It's about one barefoot man taking on a team of assassins and being a total badass, but I think it's truly special and rises above most 80s testosterone-fueled action flicks. And if you're one of those crazy people that thinks this isn't a Christmas movie, you're simply wrong. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's just how it is. I mean, it's set on Christmas Eve. What more do you want? I don't think that movies need to be feel-good in order to be Christmas movies. My favorite Christmas movie is Black Christmas, and that shit is dark as hell. In my opinion, Die Hard is the best Christmas movie available to watch on HBO Max, and they have the first 3 in the franchise, so this holiday season, feel free to go to town.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
And now it's time for my bad movie recommendation of the month, because I like bad movies and I always have to talk about at least one, but I have to say, this movie, for what it's doing, what it's trying to do, I think it's actually quite good, and it's a very Harold and Kumar Christmas. And this almost made it into the top 10, but, you know, I like to talk about a lot of things, so it's the bad movie recommendation. Go with it. In this third entry in the Harold and Kumar trilogy, the Stoner Pals go on an epic adventure throughout New York City to find the perfect Christmas tree. A series of hilarious drug-fueled antics ensue that should fill you with holiday cheer. This movie is totally bonkers, complete with a bong-smoking Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas!
I think this movie has the energy to overlook some of its weaker elements because it's funny as hell, but it's an R-rated comedy from 2011, so you know it's loaded with inappropriate humor that does not hold up today. My, how time flies, huh, you guys? But if you're looking for a Christmas movie that is not for the whole family, A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas is a damn good time.
I shot Santa Claus in the face. He's real, and I shot him in the face.
What the fuck?
I'm just gonna take a closer look.
That is my list of the best movies to watch on HBO Max in the month of December. Of course, add Wonder Woman 1984 to the list. I cannot wait to finally see that movie. And I have to say, while we're here, I'm pretty excited about what Warner Brothers is doing with HBO Max. One, I think more people need to have eyeballs on this streaming service. Every time I make one of these lists, it is so hard to narrow it down to a top 10 because there are just so many good movies. So if you haven't already given HBO Max a chance, I don't know why you're here, but definitely do. I think it is worth the price point. It is loaded with so much great content. And to think that we're getting all of these great movies coming to the service, at least temporarily in the future, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Trust me, I love going to the movie theater, and I know some people are worried this is going to threaten the movie theater going experience. Personally, you guys, I think movie theaters are just gonna have to take a time out for like a couple of years. If you caught my reviews for Freaky and Come Play, I went to the theater and then reviewed them in my car. It was a fun little thing, but honestly, going to the theater, it didn't feel the same. It felt weird, and I'm willing to wait until theaters are actually back to normal before big movies are playing in theaters again. I mean, look, I'm sorry guys, but the numbers don't lie. Like, people just don't have any interest in going to movie theaters. Maybe 20% of America does, but I'm like, come on, hello, that's just not enough to keep theaters open. I think this is going to be great, especially for us viewers for the next year to enjoy this great content, and then when things are actually back to real normal, then we can enjoy going to the theaters again, but it's just not going to happen, and I think this is a really good temporary solution in my opinion, but I definitely want to know what you guys have to say about this subject in the comments. Also, thank you. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you. I know we are in a different location right now. Things are very hectic. Things are very crazy. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it, but I thank you for putting up with me as I hop around locations and my quality is all over the place and, you know, whatever. You guys are just the best. I really appreciate your support, especially recently. It's meant a lot to me. So thank you so much for watching this video. Again, I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate the support. Your comments you keep me going. They keep me going. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss any creepy content. That's it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.